Good morning and welcome to Garden with Peggy. And today is Easter, so happy Easter to everybody. This is Alfie, and he's wearing his Easter finery for the day. And I'm not sure why he just hopped up here on his own. I didn't have to call him. I don't know if he's knows the timing and he's supposed to come up here, or the fact that my Easter basket is right over there and he may be see, that's what he's staring at off in the distance, that he may be very interested in my Easter basket. So I hope everybody has great plans for the day with their family. We're actually going to a cousin's house for Easter brunch. I think this is the first holiday that I haven't hosted in 20 years. I mean, we've gone to holiday parties, but not on the holiday. A couple times we've gone out to eat, but we rarely get invited. So let's start the day with something very important. This is my Easter basket. The Easter bunny was sitting over there, put this together for me. And there is a solid milk chocolate bunny. I never know whether I should bite the tail or the ears first. A magazine about Princess Kate, who we're all worried about. Oh, a box of turtles. I didn't even see that. And some of my favorites, Twizzlers, Werther's Originals, another bunny. Oh, what's this? Oh, lip balm. All kinds of good stuff.
So look in the eggs.
I have to look in the eggs. Oh, and then Cadbury eggs inside the eggs. Very cute. So Tommy will get his right after the show. Oh, is that safe down there? Maybe not. Dogs will eat it down there. So shall we go to This Week in Tiny Farm? Oh, let me do some introductions first. Do we have any callers? Please like and subscribe. We are on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We're on all of those. So any place you go, if you like and subscribe, that would be great. We do shorts now that pop up on TikTok, and Tommy just learned how to do reels that'll show up on Facebook. So we are progressing. So if you could like and subscribe, that would help. And the phone number, if you want to call, 888-399-7344. And we'll be here until 11 o'clock to answer your gardening questions. And the phone number, 888-399-7344. That's Peggy, Pegi, 7344. All right, now can we go to This Week at Tiny Farm? Can we do that? Okay, let's start out with a little morning picture of Alfie, who is staring out the window because people next door have a dog sitting business. They only do little dogs, and Alfie likes to guard us in the morning. She lets all the little dogs out, and he is very protective. So there he is, waiting to protect us with one ear up and one ear down, which I think that's exactly the way he's going to be. It hasn't changed in like a couple months now. So I think that's it. One up and one down. Oh, this beauty is in the greenhouse. This is the orchid. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for it to bloom, but finally it opened up and it's just stunning. Now, this is one that my dear friend Patty gave me. She was moving and didn't have a place to keep it. She doesn't have a house to live in. She's in a very tiny apartment while they house hunt for, they sold their house, and so they're house hunting. And she gave me this, and about at least 2 years ago, and it finally bloomed, and it's amazing. So I just love it. And can we make that bigger, please? So that's my forsythia bush. That's my favorite forsythia bush. And It's quite yellow and is very attractive. And I like its overall shape. And I'm showing you this not only because it's blooming now, but because I also stopped to take a picture. Oh, we missed one. No? Okay, well, maybe I put it in someplace else. So I did take a picture, and I was pretty sure I included it in one that had been really butchered by hedge pruner. So maybe it'll show up in the next slide. All right, so the next picture is my daffodils that are beginning to turn pink. These are the pink ones. And then that whole row of daffodils, that enormous row of daffodils, I added the pink ones in front. And they open up yellow. So at first you can't tell which ones they are, but over time they do become pink. And I love them. I think they're quite beautiful. And I have shown you this multiple times. This is the flowering onion, and the stalks just continue to put out flowers, and the stalks get really, really long. But if you look closely, you can see that the tips of those flower spikes are still buds, and so it's going to continue to bloom for some time. And this is a peperomia, and I've had this for a while, and it's very cute, and it's blooming, and which kind of caught me by surprise. So it looks really kind of fun, and that one flower spike is it's just opening now, so I expect it to be around for a while. Okay, I hope Anne Marie is watching, because on the left is the popcorn plant that she gave me to overwinter. She gave me two. One of them got pretty badly damaged because the dogs decided to pull it out of the pot and run around the yard with it. So I repotted it. It's kind of beat up. It's still alive. It's doing okay. But this one actually has flower buds. Those brownish, round, circular, spherical things there are flower buds, and they're supposed to look like the one on the right. Last year, nothing bloomed. None of the popcorn plants bloomed. I was very disappointed. The picture on the right with them in bloom is from 2 years ago. But over the winter, we learned that the popcorn plant in a warmer climate can be perennial. And so there you have it in the greenhouse. It is about to bloom. It's very telephone pole-y with a very long stem and foliage just at the top. But it's alive, and the part that's alive is quite healthy. So I think I'm going to just pop them in the ground as soon as danger of frost is over, give them a chance to acclimate a bit. But this year, I think we're going to get flowers. So that's exciting. That's a forsythia bush. I guess they got moved around. I must have moved the pictures around incorrectly. So that's my forsythia bush. Can we make that bigger, please? And let's take a look at the next slide. There we go. Who would do that? That's what happens when you shear the tops off with hedge pruners over and over and over again. Get all this bare, ugly, leggy branches on the bottom, and you just get flowers on the top. This is why I have never used a hedge pruner, an electric power type hedge pruner on any kind of bush or hedges. You just end up chopping off all the new growth, all the healthy growth, and you leave behind all the ugly growth. And that's what happened here. And it's just, I made Tommy stop the car, do a U-turn, go back so I could take this picture, because it is really ugly. And this is a picture. They had a whole row of them that they did this to. Why? Why would you do this? I mean, they don't require a tremendous amount of maintenance. A little bit of selective pruning every couple of years is really all you need to do. I guess, shearing them is easier, but does it really accomplish the goal at hand? I mean, you're trying to keep them attractive, and this is anything but. So a perfect example of what not to do. Oh, that's me. And Tommy snapped this picture last week, and I am clearly painting. I think I'm working on leaves in this picture. And it was kind of exciting because it was a bit of a milestone because I got around the corner. So I am going, the low ceiling over the landing has flowers on it now. And I went around the corner up the perpendicular wall there and onto the tree trunk. So we are moving on up. There you go. Looking good. I still have a long way to go, but I'm making progress. I tend to do it at night, like 8 o'clock, 8:30. I'll paint a cluster of flowers, or I will go and paint leaves on the last cluster of flowers I did. It's kind of relaxing to do at night. So a little bit every day. All right. So I went to the big box store and I tried to buy bamboo markers for all my seedlings, and they didn't have any, which was really surprising. And I had used up all the ones I had. I did substitute a couple of plastic forks, which work, and the forks have the advantage of all the prongs, and so they stick in the soil pretty well. And I use a magic marker on the plastic forks, so that works. It's not ideal for me, but it works. So the first thing, when I was Easter shopping, and we were, where were we? We were at like one of the big giant
Walgreens
pharmacies, and I bought these on the left, the regular popsicle sticks, and they call them crab sticks. And I was happy with them. But then we went to the dollar store to see what else we could find for Easter baskets. And what to my wondering eyes should appear, but those are bigger, not quite tongue depressor size, but bigger. And they were at the dollar store, which is really $1.25 store. And I was excited. So that there was 60 of those, and I was thrilled to get them. So if you need markers for your seeds or your plants, I think this was a good find. And I write on them with pencil, by the way. I think pencil's better than magic marker. I think the magic marker is fine, but I think it tends to fade. The pencil really doesn't fade, so that's what I usually use. Oh, I forgot about this. Also, we went to the big box store. They didn't have labels, but they had this. And I don't know how many of you know what this is, but it is a single leaf of a snake plant called whale fin. And I've only become familiar with this one this year. And I saw it at two of the very high-end nurseries, Barlow's and the Farm up in Chatham. And they were like $40 for a single leaf. And I wasn't going to spend that. And there at the big box store, it was $24.99. And at that price, I could not resist. I think the pot thing that it's in is really ugly and weird, but now I have my very own whale fin snake plant. I have probably 10 different kinds of snake plants, and I really enjoy them, and they're hard to kill. The only way to kill them really is to overwater them. So you can kind of forget about them and you're okay. But I was very excited to find this. And also at the big box store, there we have Christmas cactuses. Of course, it's not Christmas, so we'll call them Easter cactuses because today is Easter. But there's always the discussion, are they Easter? Are they Thanksgiving? Are they Christmas? And we talk about it fairly often. These look no different than any Christmas cactus. They may be different varieties, or they may have been manipulated via light and temperature to bloom in time for this holiday. That would be my guess. But they are lovely and reasonable and easy care. And while they are true cactuses, they are not desert cactuses. They are actually native to the mountain forest floors in Brazil, where it is more of a temperate climate and more wet. I mean, it's warm. I shouldn't say temperate. It's like a rainforest, and it's shady, and so a very different environment. They don't need blazing sun. They can tolerate temperatures down into the high 30s, low 40s. And that's what they actually need. They need cool night temperatures in order to bloom. So they are, you can force them into bloom by manipulating that at pretty much any time. So you can get them, you can keep them, you can enjoy them. They're lovely. And is that it?
That's it.
Okay, so, oh, we have all kinds of callers here.
Mary from Warren.
Okay, yes, we have slides from Mary from Warren. So let's go to the slides for Mary from Warren and then say Happy Easter, Mary from Warren.
Happy Easter, Peggy.
How you doing today?
Good. It's
All
bright
right.
and sunny. I got my sheets hanging out on the line already.
Really? You hang your sheets on the line?
I do. I love how they smell when they've been hanging out.
Yeah, but aren't they stiff? Don't they get stiff?
No, not sheets. Towels do, but
Yeah,
not sheets.
towels get horrible. It's like drying yourself with sandpaper. So, okay.
Yes.
So let's go directly to the big slides and let's see. What are we looking at here, Mary? I think
That's my crepe myrtle.
Yes.
And it seems to be taking over. Last year, it was getting too wide. So it was almost coming out as ends over the rocks there. So I had cut some off the bottom. But it's really getting very tall. And I wasn't sure what might be the best way to kind of cut it back.
You can
it's
cut
been there
whatever
probably.
you need. You can cut whatever you need to cut. And now is the time of year to do it while it's still dormant. It blooms on new growth. So by pruning it at this time of year, you will not necessarily be preventing it from blooming in the summer. However, the more you cut off, the longer it will take to bloom. I'll tell you two stories. One was when we were at Blooming Acres, we had a row of evergreens that was dividing our property from the Christmas tree field, our personal property from our Christmas tree field. And that was great because it was on the north side of the house and it blocked the wind, but it was very green and very boring. So I planted a whole bunch of crepe myrtles in front of it, which were facing south. Behind them was north, but they were facing south, so they got plenty of sun. And they were great, and they bloomed for quite a few years. But what I had been poor planning. I didn't realize at the time how quickly the evergreens would get really big, and they got swallowed up. The evergreens swallowed up the crepe myrtles, but higher up near the base, they were. I cut them back. I cut them back to like 4 naked trunks, and they were getting more sun near the bottom, and cut them back. No side branches at all. The trunks that I left were probably about 1.5 inches in diameter. And there was like 2 or 3 trunks per crepe myrtle. And they bloomed that summer. It was very late, but they did bloom. And I cut them back that hard. Now, the other story is my friend Karen bought a starter home, a small starter home that had a beautiful pink crepe myrtle in front of it. And she hated it. I don't know why. It was huge. It towered over the house. I think that's why she didn't like it, because it dwarfed the house. And she cut it to the ground, and it sent up side shoots that bloomed every summer. She continued to cut it down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think it had a really well-established root system. And she was more tolerant of it as a bush than she was as a giant tree. But I would not have cut it down.
Mm-hmm.
But point is that she cut it to the ground, and it bloomed every year anyway. So there you have it. So you can do what you need to do,
so
whatever that is. Can shape it. You can maybe get rid of a trunk or two if you want to do that. The other thing is, if you let it grow and let one of the trunks, really mature, it gets really beautiful because it has exfoliating bark, and you get to see all the different colors. Whereas when you have multi trunks like that, and you don't really get that. You don't get the benefit of that as easily. So it's all the trunks are growing as opposed to one trunk, which is just getting bigger, and it actually begins to exfoliate, and you get to see it.
Okay.
So you can do what you need to do, whatever that is. But now, don't wait. It's not like forsythia and rhododendrons that you wait to prune until after they bloom. It's the exact opposite.
Okay. Well, it is a beautiful day today, so I may be out there doing that later.
Okay, well, have fun. Well, and there you go. Yeah, see, you can take out quite a few of those branches right near the bottom, and that would help a lot. You know, the ones that are sticking out the furthest or the tallest, either way that you want to do it. All right, so this is your other plant, right?
Now that's the bottom of what I see now is the bottom of yeah, okay. That's my money tree.
Right. It looks a little skimpy, but what's there looks healthy. How long have you had it?
Oh, probably about 6 or 8 years.
Okay. All right.
It was a tiny little thing when I got it.
Okay. All right. So this is
what it lost a lot of leaves, lower leaves. So it kind of has that big space that really has nothing in it.
Okay. Are you looking at the next slide with the magic arrows?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you want to do. I wouldn't cut all of it. I would take the tallest branch over there on the right. I would take that way back. Possibly, I'd have to actually see it to be 100% certain. Possibly to the trunk that it grows out of, or you can leave one leaf node to sprout. So you would want to take that one way back. And then ordinarily I would say take the second tallest one. But if I'm looking, it's really hard for me to tell 100% here. But it looks like the second taller one has multiple branches. So I don't know that I would take that one. That's why I pointed out the other one that looks like it was a single stem. And you could take that one, but don't take them all. Leave some foliage on there to regenerate. And then after you get a little bit of new growth way back after you prune it, then you can prune the other branches. So you do it in stages so that you don't, strip it completely naked.
Yeah. All right. That's good. I can do that today too.
On to is this your brother's tree?
Yes, they live next door.
Oh, your brother lives next door?
And
that's fun.
Yeah. It was kind of an interesting story. My sister-in-law's grandmother owned the old farmhouse, and it originally had like 10 acres with it, but they had sold acreage off, and it was left, and it had about 3.5 acres. And she was selling it, so my husband and I bought the old farmhouse, and we got 2 acres. We split the property, and my brother and sister-in-law got 1.5 acres that had some old small houses on it, and they knocked those houses down and they built a new house. So we've been neighbors for like almost 40 years.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
I wish I lived closer to Uncle
really
Matt.
Is.
I wish I lived closer to Uncle Matt because he's my he's like a great
Well,
brother.
I'll be honest, the best is when they would do Thanksgiving and all I had to do was walk across the lawn.
Yeah, that has some definite, advantages for sure. Okay, but we're looking at this poor Coosa dogwood, and doesn't look too good. It looks like you got peeling bark, and the picture on the right, there's that one branch that starts out sort of close to being in the middle and shoots up to like 1 o'clock over there, and it has dead leaves on the top. And that's a really bad sign. That's a really bad sign. It's like because the leaves never fell off because the branch died before the leaves had a chance to form the abscission layer and drop off naturally. So I'm guessing that branch is dead. I don't have a really clear view of it, but that would be my guess. So much of it looks like it's dead that I would think that the only way to tell for certain is if it puts out any new growth. And then after it puts out any new growth or shows signs of putting out any new growth, you remove everything that's dead. And I think there's going to be so much dead that you don't want to risk taking off anything now that might be alive because there's not going to be much. So when you see signs of new growth, ordinarily I would say not to do it that way because dogwoods have a tendency to bleed at that time. But really, you might want to consider getting a new one. And to be honest, the other thing is, if you want it in the same spot, I wouldn't put a dogwood. I would put it someplace else. You don't want to. Dogwoods are subject to something called dogwood decline, and it's usually not on Kusa dogwoods. It's on native dogwoods, but you don't want to replace it with something the same thing in case whatever got to this one is in the soil and the new one would pick it up. So you don't want to put another one in. As an alternative, you might want to consider, maybe a red bud. Would they have similar growth requirements, environmental requirements as a dogwood? So you might want to put a red bud in there, or one of the Aesculuses, not the horse chestnut, but the relative of it. There's two of them, Aesculus pavia and Aesculus parviflora. One gets red flowers, one gets white flowers. The one that gets white flowers in July, which is kind of nice, and it's very shade tolerant. I have both. They're lovely, so you might want to consider one of those. But and if he really wants to have a Kusa dogwood, then you could put that someplace else. I'm looking back. There's a little yellow shed with a grassy area or a leafy mulchy area. Maybe you could put it back there, but I wouldn't. If it's determined to be way dead, mostly dead, and not enough that you could have any hope of bringing it back, which is what my inclination is. You might want to plant another one right away just to get a head start on.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's sad because it was a beautiful tree.
Yeah.
And I love those little
it has
red balls they get on it.
Yes. Those are edible, They're a little tart.
I have never eaten them.
But they're a little tart, but they are considered edible. So this is the last of the pictures that you sent me, and this shows even more that the branches are in really bad shape. So doesn't look like there's a lot of hope for this, but definitely I would plant another one someplace else and come up with a replacement tree for this spot. And maybe even if you don't plant the replacement tree this year, you'll already have a head start on the Kusa dogwood someplace else. And then maybe when you've decided late into spring that this one's really shot, then you have the summer to take it down, and then you can replant either in the fall or the spring. I'm sorry. Now, I don't like to tell people that their trees are dying.
I know. Is that something that when we cut the dead stuff off, can we put it like in the woods in the compost, or should we get rid of it?
I don't know. I would hesitate to keep it around if it's diseased. Especially since, if you have a wooded area, our native dogwoods are, going to volunteer in there, and you don't want to take that risk. I would say if you're going to keep it around for firewood, and you're planning on burning it, and you have like summer barbecue pits and that kind of thing, then maybe keep it and get rid of it. But I don't know that I'd leave it in the compost pile, because then you're going to use the compost and you're going to move it around, and just in case you're spreading something that you don't want to be spreading. So if you're going to burn it right away, then I'd say that's okay, but keep it in a pile and then just burn it. But I don't know that I'd put it in a compost pile or leave it in the woods where it could infect all your native dogwoods. And we don't know. It might not even be a disease. It could be something else, but I wouldn't take the risk.
Better not to chance it.
Right. So if you have a fire pit and you're going to burn it, then I'd say that's okay. But
yeah, they do have a fire pit. Might give us a good reason to have a fire.
There you go. That could be fun. Get your marshmallows out.
Yes, definitely. And chocolate.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I think that we've covered all your questions. I think that was the end.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for sending me the
Yeah.
slides. That was fun. And have a please pass my condolences on to your brother about his tree. I'm sorry. And have a wonderful Easter. Are you having Easter with your brother?
No, he's actually going. They're going with her side of the family, my sister-in-law's side of the family. So my husband and I are gonna have dinner here. He's gonna make a nice roast chicken, and I'm probably gonna work out in the garden all afternoon.
Well, it looks like a beautiful day, so that's an okay thing to do. We are actually going to my cousin's house for a Easter brunch. This is like the first holiday that
Ooh.
that I have not hosted. A couple of holidays we've gone out to dinner, but most of the time I host for my family, my kids. And but I'm bringing. There's going to be 20 people, and I'm bringing lox and cream cheese on croissants, not bagels. I think it's so much easier to eat them on croissants than on
Ooh.
those chewy bagels, especially trying to make a sandwich. Those bagels are really hard to eat. So I'm really excited. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Sounds nice. Enjoy it.
Enjoy your chicken. All right. Have a great day. Thanks for
Okay.
calling, Mary.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All
Bye-bye
right.
now.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So is that Alicia?
This is Banco.
Yeah, it says maybe not. I have a very dear friend, Alicia Bianco, and I got a note from someone with a very similar name, and I don't know if it's the same or not. But
This is
wish,
Alice.
yes, so I don't know if it's the same. But to whoever it is, thank you. It says Alice, so thank you, Alice. Andy sent us also a comment. Greetings from South River. It's Andy and Laura saying hello and wishing Peggy, Tommy, Alfie, Kusa, Dogwood, Juniper, Wolfbane, Sir Cat, and everyone watching a wonderful Easter. And of course, we got our morning greetings from Rob F. So happy Easter to everyone that has commented, of course, but to everyone who's viewing the show today. All right, so it's Anne-Marie. Let's have a little chat with Anne-Marie. I haven't talked to her on the air in ages. Hey, Anne-Marie, happy Easter.
Hey, happy Easter to you.
So are you cooking?
Well, our family is big, and my house, the bodies have outgrown the size of my dining space because all my little grandchildren are now as tall as I am, which isn't very tall, but the boys are way taller and the older girls are catching them. So I cook, I put it all together, and then my gracious daughter Taryn, who lives literally across the street, has a much better house for this gang. So I do it all, and we just take it over there and we eat over there, and it's wonderful. So it's always good. Taryn and Robert are very gracious about opening their home, but she is a CPA partner with them, and she works till 1 a.m. most nights. So
but this time of year,
tired.
Absolutely. So There you go. All right. Well, it seems like you have plans for a great day. It's so nice to have you back. You were gone too long. So
sorry.
And I know you go to church on Sundays, and I'm inquiring, how are the Easter lilies looking this year?
Good. This year they seem to have gotten more azaleas. There might be 10 azaleas. I don't know if they have a big plan to plant them across the back edge of the parking lot. The one end has the ever-blooming roses, but we could do the other end with those. But there's probably 12 or 15 Easter lilies, and then there's hyacinths, and there are also hydrangeas. So it's beautiful.
Wow. That's not...
It smells beautiful when you go in. It's like going truly into a garden. It's wonderful.
I'm sure. Not necessarily as Eastery for a church. Usually it's just the Easter lilies, but I'm sure that's beautiful.
Well, because on Holy Thursday, because Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane, that looks like a garden. That's when the hyacinths and tulips, the colored flowers are there, and then they just work them in with then they leave the altar after Thursday evening, and then for Easter Vigil, Saturday night and Sunday, the garden is all there, including the lilies.
Okay, so
it makes sense.
I'm a little concerned about the azaleas, because a lot of times
I know
the azaleas that are available at this time of year for the holiday are not hardy outside. So
I know the ones we had last year, we didn't have as many, and I actually brought them home and babysat them, and they kind of survived, and we did put them in, and I really need to go and see if the ones that did survive. I read the tag on them, and I knew you had always said this, but I read the tag that said they may or may not be hardy in your area, blah blah. So anyway, we'll see how they do, and if not, they're beautiful now, and they'll stay as long as they stay, and then they'll be gone. Cut flowers go away also, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And they will last longer than cut flowers. And with the weather
sure.
progressing the way it is, they may stay nice and green for the whole
Right.
summer, even if they don't make it through next winter. So just
Yep.
wanted to give you
I think Art sent you a picture of the big magnolia tree across the street, which is
Yes, he
blooming
did.
today.
Yes,
It
he
was,
did.
all week to get there, but it did bloom. So
I didn't.
I don't know why that would have been more protected. Maybe because it's a big tree between the curb and the sidewalk, and that tree is on his lawn. So it might have gotten some protection by the tall beast that grows in front of it. I don't know.
Well, there's also like an infinite number of varieties of magnolias. There's so many different kinds. And
Okay.
the earliest ones were the ones that always get hit. My Susan is covered in deep, deep royal purple buds right now. They open to be white on the inside and purple on the outside, but the buds are deep purple, and it's in bud, and it looks beautiful. I didn't notice it until it was too late to take a picture to get ready for the show. Same with, the one Uncle Art sent me. My slides were already done for the show, so I didn't incorporate it for this week.
That was your Easter greeting.
But I will I'll have both of them on for next week. So that's the problem. The early varieties are the ones that get zapped, and the later varieties stand a much better chance. Mine is doing okay. The one that you photographed is doing okay. And the weather looks like it's not going to be frosty for the next few days. So I think that we'll be fine. But when you see them all brown, it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. All right. Before you get off the air, since we've been talking about Easter lilies, Tommy, can we have the Easter lily slides, please? Higher up. There you go. Okay. So these are the lilies that I saw at the big box store. And the ones in the front are Easter lilies. And they are Lilium longiflorum is the botanical name, and it's kind of the only longiflorums that I'm really familiar with are the Easter lilies. I know there's been research to try to get some of them with some color in it. I know there's been research with them to try to get some dwarf varieties. I don't know. I was looking online and I came across some that said they were blue, and I tried to find if it was real, or if they were sprayed or dyed or anything. I couldn't really find anything accurate, so I didn't show them. But I have to say that this is the perfect stage to buy them in, the Easter lilies, the ones in front, where you've got one bud open and the rest of them in bud, so that you get to enjoy most of them in your home after you bring them home. Now, the ones in the back are white, and I don't know, what color would you call that? Salmony pink? Asiatic lilies. So this is the Asiatic lilies, and this is a really good picture. Asiatic lilies are very hardy. But Emery, are you looking at a screen, or are you not able to do that?
Yeah, no, I can see them. Yeah, I'm on the phone, and
There's a delay.
you're talking. It's a little delayed, but I'm seeing the pictures.
Okay. Well, see all those brown little nubby things? Those are the
Yes.
anthers, and they need to be removed. They need to be removed.
Right.
And, next. And that's an Asiatic lily, but it's the same thing. Now, those little anthers are already shedding pollen. You can see a few of the brown specks on the white petals already. And this is a true Easter lily that's shedding. And that stuff, couple things, that stuff really stains anything it gets on. It's just almost impossible to get out. So there's that component of it. But also the progression of the anthers releases chemicals that causes the flowers to age more quickly. So you get, it's a twofer. You slow down the senescence of the flower and you keep the flowers clean and you don't get any of that stuff on. They should be plucked as soon as the flower buds open, when they look like little brown beans before they look like this, which is just messy. And you go to pluck them with your fingers and your fingers will be yellow for 3 days. Okay. Now, once you're done, and the flowers have all finished, you want to cut it below where all the flower buds were, but above the foliage. Usually there's a cluster of leaves right by the flowers that end up getting removed, but leave all the foliage below that. And you keep them at that point, move it into as much sun as you can. And you can, when all danger of frost is past, you can move them outside and plant them. And they will, in most cases, come back in subsequent years. Most people don't realize that you can do that with Easter lilies. Definitely the Asiatic lilies, but the Easter lilies also are pretty hardy, except they'll bloom in July. Maybe not this July, but their natural time of blooming is July. So if you were to save your Easter lilies or all those Easter lilies that you have in the church and you wanted to plant them someplace, make a whole bank of them with the ones from the church, you can do that, but expect them to bloom in July. So now you have a project, Anne-Marie. Rescue all those church
And
lilies.
I certainly need a new project.
That's what,
yes, I do know they bloom in July. And yes, we always snip off before we try to snip them before they get yellow, because we know they stay in your hands, your clothes. It doesn't matter what it gets near. It's just vicious. So as they start to bloom, we do clip them. So we do take care of them. And I had a couple other things to say. That my ivy bloomed all over the top of my crazy dead tree that has no branches of its own. It just has mountains of ivy growing off it. And that was all in bloom the last couple of weeks.
What, an English
and
ivy?
the other is...
Wait, English ivy we're talking about?
Yes, it's some English and some regular. My regular green ivy. Unless it's English ivy that's lost, you know how you said if the green takes over, the white goes away. So I can't really tell you what it is. It's mostly green. I don't really see much white up there, but it did, whatever it is, it blooms like crazy. The whole top of it was white.
Oh, cool. Okay. That must
But
be
I can't say that I noticed the bees. Oh, and I also, my faithful helper guy, Arthur, we cut the whole pussy willow down. Some of those branches had to be 20 foot long.
Wow.
They were in. And he used his reciprocating saw like his friend Peggy told him. So he was so very cool because he has such a good friend.
Well, I'm glad that worked out for you. I'm glad your home feels better having you in New Jersey. And I'm sure when that starts to resprout, you're going to get next year. With a little luck, you're going to get magnificent long pussy willow branches. Nice, long, straight ones that you'll be able to cut a few of them and they'll be magnificent and they'll last forever. So this is exciting. On to a new phase of the pussy willow plant.
Okay, so when it sprouts me new ones and I have these nice long ones I can trim, what happens to the long ones that I leave there? They're still going to grow 20 foot?
Well, they're going to keep growing.
Because if I take off the first 3 feet, they're going to shoot out more than one new stem. They're not going to. That's what happened to it. Everybody had too many little branches.
Okay. Keep in mind that pussy willows really want to be a tree. That's what they want to be. They want to be a tree. A smallish tree, not as big as a weeping willow, but they want to be a tree. And if you leave them alone, they will grow like a tree with one trunk, or if you leave multiple branches, multiple trunks. But you're not going to get those nice long branches. When it grows, it's going to do as many side branches as any other tree. And it's going to be all crookedy and only have pussy willows at the tips. So, I mean, that's just the way it grows. So if you want to have a continual onslaught of the spring long ones, you have to cut some of the branches down to the ground every year. Not all of them every year, but some of them to encourage new shoots. And at any point, if you cut part of the branch off, then all the side buds are going to grow and it's going to get very bush-like.
Okay. And I just have one more thing. I want to know if anybody else was lucky enough to purchase a hyacinth that didn't look like it was blooming at ShopRite. I thought it would be white. It is yellow.
Ooh, Exciting.
Oh, you're
Lovely. Well, you have to send me a picture
I
of
might
that.
have sent you a picture this morning. I think there's a picture after. You don't have it yet, maybe, but I did send you a picture this morning. But I really thought it was going to be white, and I was really forcing it to bloom. And lo and behold, there it was, yellow. I'm so excited.
Well, that is very exciting. So I do want to see a picture of that. All right, you give Uncle Art a hug for me. And I
Hey,
hope
have a great day. I'm so glad someone else is hosting you. You deserve it. You are the hostess with the mostest, and people should invite you.
well, this is fun. I'm really looking, and my kids are coming. So, it's a win-win all the way around.
Nice.
All right, so you have a great day.
Good for you.
And we're going to go
Okay,
on
take
to,
care, everybody. Happy Easter.
Thanks. Bye-bye now. And we're going to move to Sandy.
Andy.
Oh, it's Andy. Oh, it's Andy. Andy from South River. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Hello, Peggy.
Boy, it's good to hear that voice. I haven't heard that voice in quite a while. How you doing? You ready for Easter?
I am ready, but I will share with you the lovely Laura Marie and I. We've been busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest.
Okay. All right, but you're going to have a good day today? It's a beautiful day.
Oh, after last year, I mean, as you well know, the first year of our foray into the large, expansive property across the street, that property was a mess. And the first year you came, you saw we had that awful drought the summer of 22.
Yeah, it was very dry.
It was no good. And then, of course, last year we had the mishap with the lawn care people where they destroyed all of my expensive bulbs. The bulbs were growing. It was exactly a year ago. And they didn't calibrate the weed control sprayer, and it sprayed all into my garden beds. I was devastated. I know you know this feeling. You smell what I'm cooking when things like this happen and you can't sleep at night because you want to punch somebody's nose right down their throat.
Yeah. We hired a new mowing man this year because the mowing man we had, every time he stepped onto the property, he destroyed something. It was just really emotional. So yes, I totally understand. But there is the story, the all-time worst story that I've ever heard, that when I think about it, I remind myself that at least it's not that bad. And that was the guy when I was just beginning as a county agent and I was answering homeowner calls in the morning, which I did every day for years. And he called and he was in tears and he put a weed killer 2,4-D in his hose end sprayer straight. He did not dilute it. And he sprayed his lawn with weed killer, which was way more concentrated than it was supposed to be. And the drift from that very concentrated amount of weed killer killed every single thing on his property. And he had been developing his landscape on his own for 5 years, and he killed everything. And with the weed killer in the ground, he really couldn't replant for another year. So he had to look at it. He was watching it all die day by day. He couldn't even go to work. He was so upset. And he couldn't really even do anything about it for another year because, you had to wait until it got out of the soil, had to incorporate organic matter into the soil to absorb some of the chemicals. But yeah, whenever I think of that and how devastating that was, it makes me realize, okay, I can get through this. It's not so bad.
Well, you can explain to the lawn care people that, these bulbs, hey, sport, these bulbs, they're not inexpensive. And your guy came and put me on such a sick trip. And, of course, they were very apologetic and they refunded my money. And so this was the first application this week. So when they send the email saying they're coming, they put the name of the person. the actual technician that's going to come out and put down the fertilizer and put down the weed control. I'm sure a lot of people listening, if they have lawn care, they know the drill. You don't want them to come out when it's going to rain later in the day. You know, Peggy, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Experience is a hard teacher. She gives the test first and the lessons afterwards. So I looked up this technician, and I see that this individual had a brush with the law. So I called my buddy at the lawn care place, and he assured me that this individual had been acquitted of all charges. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, all right, hey, whatever happened, happened. It's all good. I'm not going to judge another human being because of past missteps. So when that technician came, I spoke with the person. I explained to them the situation. I said, yes, the tarps all over my garden beds are there for a reason. Did a great job and was very appreciative. This person's significant other was an avid gardener. Lots of empathy. She was very careful. And instead of getting close up to the garden bed, she stayed about 2 feet away, and then she went and took the liquid fertilizer and sprayed all closer to the garden bed. Man, I was a helicopter client. I mean, I was literally on top of her. Right? I mean, I bought all these beautiful Persian blue alliums. Peggy, these alliums are expensive.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But absent of spraying them with weed killer that kills them, they will last for years. They will come back for many years. So, they are an investment. Not all, tulips only last 3 to 5 years, so they fade away. The alliums should last for many years. So there is that, as long as they're in a sunny location so that the bulbs can be replenished, because they are sun loving. But if, they get enough sun, they will last for years. So that's encouraging.
So I think with all the rain, and you're right, the cold snap was not good, but everything seems to be okay. There were 2 living items on my property I was concerned about. Of course, the aging dogwood that for years has been on her last legs. That looks like we're going to be okay there. And of course, my neighbor really did a job on Okefenokee, and his sister Okefenokee too, and they literally cut back to the property line, but it looks like both of them are going to be okay. So as you said before, I think 3rd time's a charm. This is the 3rd season. All of the flowers look really great. Of course, the crocuses have croaked. The daffodils are hanging in. The hyacinths are looking superb. And life is good. Let there be rejoicing.
Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion for your consideration. Stop using weed killer on your lawn and use the fertilizer. When you put the fertilizer down, use the pre-emergence, which is for crabgrass, but it's also for other weed seedlings as well. And then instead of doing a broadcast application that includes weed killer that can be dangerous, consider just spot treating the weeds that pop up. Since you've been using weed killer for several years, that would get most of the weeds under control. And then you can just spot treat with weed killer right where the weeds are. And that would reduce your risk of drift significantly. And of course, you'll still have the fertilizer, and you'll still have the pre-emergence that will prevent a lot of weed seeds from germinating. But you might want to consider just spot treating for weeds that are, established or getting established. You might want to give some thought to that approach.
I think I'm going to do that because I haven't seen the dandelion in years. And if I tell the lawn care company, hey, turn the sprayers off. I'm the customer, and the customer's always right.
Well, in this case, it's a viable option. If you have tons and tons and tons of weeds, you don't want to be spot treating. But if you have things mostly under control, that poses much less risk than using a sprayer that sprays everything. So I would, if it were me, I would probably do that. If it were actually, that's not true. I wouldn't do that at all. If it were me, I would ignore all the weeds and just mow them. But that's just me. But if I needed to have an attractive lawn, and in some circumstances it's need, and in some cases it's personal choice, I would definitely do it that way.
All right. More sage wisdom from the Garden with Pegi world. The birdie playground is a hit. The birdie playground, people literally will stop their car and look at the birdie playground. And the birdies at this point, they don't care about the cars, man. This is free food. And it's just been the greatest blessing, although back in the winter, we had a visit from the neighborhood fox.
Ooh.
Yes, we have a neighborhood fox here in the borough of South River, and it was about 5 minutes to 5 a.m., and he's trotting through the neighborhood, and he stopped at the birdie playground, and I guess foxes like to eat bugs. I didn't know this.
I think that they're omnivores, so I think they'll eat a wide variety of things.
Well, he dug around the base of the birdie playground, which of course is a dead tree, and now it's looking kind of ratty, but I'm thinking about how we might be able to do some kind of planting there at the bottom to make it look not so gnarly. But yes, that birdie playground has really been a great source of enjoyment, not just for me, but for everyone here in the neighborhood.
Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion for that. If you want to plant something around the base of the tree, I suggest you do it from seed.
Okay.
And my reasoning for that is that you have a dead tree there, and dead trees have roots. And if you want something close to the tree, you're going to have a hard time digging and putting little transplants in. But if you plant from seed, the seeds will find their own ways of getting the roots down in between the roots of the tree. So something that grows easily from seed would be something that I would suggest. So you could do zinnias, or marigolds do well from seed, or you could do cleome, or this might be the best choice, cosmos, because they're really airy and pretty and kind of blow in the breeze a little bit. But I would throw seed all the way around the base of the trunk. Work up the soil, get a little bit of the grass out, make it tidy looking, so like a circle around the tree in some sort of tidy way, and then put seed down, because I think you would get a nice establishment of a flower bed easier than trying to put transplants in where the soil, finding a place that's big enough to put a trowel in and plant transplants might be tricky.
Okay, well, just one last announcement for you and Tommy and the crew there in Neptune, and to the Garden Show family. Laura Marie and I are getting hitched.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. That is
I know
news.
what you guys are thinking. I know what you guys are thinking. Man, that was quick.
That wasn't exactly the thought that was going through my head. But that's very exciting. So when's the big day?
The big day is Saturday, April 13th, 2024. So when you see us at the Garden Show, we will be Mr. and Mrs. We will be betrothed. Yes. Laura's mom she's kind of been saying it would really make her happy if we did this. And she's had some health concerns. And Laura said, if not now, when? And I looked back at her and I said, you're right. If not now, when? So, yeah, so it's happening now. How many people have you known in your lifetime where both the groom, who is over 60, and the bride, who is over 60, are both getting married for the first time?
I think that's a pretty unique situation here. Alfie just heard the news and wanted to congratulate you. He's very excited. I'm certainly excited for you. That's phenomenal, and congratulations, and wishing you many, many additional years of happiness in this new arrangement. But I think, listen, Tommy and I will be married 35 years in June, and a good marriage is without question the best place to be. And you have a great relationship, so I'm sure you'll be very happy. I'm thrilled for you. Absolutely.
Well,
thrilled.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. And do you ever think you can get Wolfbane up to say hello? Very handsome cat. I liked the YouTube short where he's standing there next to the beautiful painting of the tree in the stairway.
Well, the stairway is his. I mean, that's his territory. And so he's often on the stairs, usually because we keep at the base of the stairs, we keep it gated so the dogs can't go up, and he can go right through the gate. And so the stairs are his. And he's a wonderful cat. I mean, he often, if I try to take a nap during the day, which I do on occasion, if I've been working outside and I come in, I'm exhausted, I'll crash for a little while. The dogs do not make good nappers, because if they see something out the window or they hear something, they'll start barking, and that's the end of the nap. So I often will lock the doors, the dogs out of the bedroom, and the kitty has a secret door in my closet, so he can come up from the basement through the secret door and find me when the dogs are locked out. And he is an excellent napper. He definitely likes to snuggle. So I do get to spend special time with him, and he's a delightful creature. And but he doesn't like to pose for pictures. I mean, he's not, he's not his thing. And to pick him up and hold him on my desk here, he's not going to stay. He's not going to stay because the light's too bright and the dogs are running around, and it's not familiar. So it's hard to get him on camera for the show, but he's doing quite well. He's doing very, very well. So I will do my best.
Do you ever get the sense? Do you ever get the sense that this cat realizes that he's hit the kitty cat jackpot?
I think that he's very contented. He has a really good life. He has a GPS on his collar so that if he should go out in the backyard, we can keep track of him. I thought he would go out more than he does, but he doesn't really have a need to go out because he loves the greenhouse. And he has a room in the basement that's all his. And that's where his box is. That's where I feed him. And there's a window in there. And he can go from that room through the basement directly into the greenhouse. So he has his own little world that he just loves. And I find him sunning himself in the greenhouse all the time. So I think he's pretty appreciative. And he will, without question, come when I call him. He responds immediately when I call him. So I think he's pretty content. I think he thinks he has a good life. And believe it or not, he's definitely frenemies with that Alfie dog. I mean, they're definitely, they play. Sometimes they play too rough, but they play, and he doesn't run away from the dogs at all. So, I mean, everybody gets along. So it's all good. No complaints. So
all right. Well, you enjoy your Easter. Say hello to TJ, Kira, the whole crew. I get it. You got to slam the lid on episode 34. Congratulations to the both of you.
Thank you. I am going to show one quick video of TJ because I think, it's ready to go. So we're going to do that. Just it'll only be a minute, but I think it'll be kind of fun to show this and to show my son how helpful he can be. And then I'm going to get ready for Easter. So you have a great day and congratulations, and give Laura a hug on our behalf. Okay.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Can
Do
we,
the video?
yeah. Wasn't there a slide first?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do the slide and then we'll go to the video and then. Okay. This is my present from my son. This is the picture. That's his truck, and that's my driveway. And he brought this huge load of chips. And let's go right to the video. It's not too long, but we'll in there. Here we have back. We have a gate in the fence that allows the trucks to go into the backyard if we need to. And he was able to back in to make it nice and easy. And he brought me this whole huge load of chips, and they're really good quality. And I just started working on the blueberry bed, which needs to be mulched every year pretty heavily. Leaves out. I don't like to have to walk around in there to do the weeding when the blueberries are in. And look at that load of chips. And then he just pulled straight up. It was a perfect arrangement. But I want you to see, this is just wood chips, but look at the quality of the chips he brought me. Nice, fine, small chips. And we will use every bit of that. So that'll keep me busy this week for sure. All right, everybody. I have to go make sandwiches. I think I need to water the greenhouse too before we can get on with our Easter. Oh, and I have to give my husband his Easter basket. So everybody have a wonderful holiday and enjoy it in whatever way is your way of enjoying the holiday. If it's not the religious aspect of it, just enjoy that it's a wonderful day to be with your family. The weather's beautiful. And we will be here next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a good one. Bye-bye.